You're listening to Smart Thinking, a podcast from WSP. I'm Matthew Marson, taking you on a journey into smart buildings. In this episode, we're talking in 3 dimensions and learning all about location services. Joining me in the studio is Evelyn Hogan from Cordles Consultants. With over 15 years' experience operating large-scale property operations, Evelyn is now a workplace specialist managing new business development at Cordles Consultants. For me, location services are about providing a mesh of connectivity, be that through Bluetooth or something called RFID, or perhaps even Wi-Fi triangulation that helps people find places, things, people, and skills easily. Evelyn, can you help me make this even more simple? For you, what are location services?
Right, so location services are technology offerings that are delivered based on size, shape, location of people or assets in a physical space.
And how do you think it can help clients?
Well, property costs are the second highest cost in any business, and most businesses want to ensure they get return on investment. So productivity, staff, so that's why.
It's time for them to really sit up and listen.
They have to look at it all and look at what they're spending and versus what the future is going to be with tech.
What kind of value can location services provide someone in a building?
Value that location services can add to a building is to ask individual questions such as who's in, where the person is, or an asset, and how do you find them? Is the restaurant busy?
That would be really useful, because particularly how people are moving to agile working, if you don't know where someone's sat, they become really difficult to try and find. So if we think technically on how you do that, what kind of technology have you seen being used out there?
So you see a lot now being installed into buildings such as Wi-Fi analytics, Bluetooth, reverse Bluetooth. Location services that uses a range from people tracking, wayfinding, and again, analytic usage.
That's really cool. So what I've seen from some of the stats on this is that Wi-Fi analytics will give you kind of to the nearest 5 meters. Normal Bluetooth will give you kind of 3 meters. And then on the sort of far end, the most expensive for reverse Bluetooth, it's about 1 meter, which is really good when you have to find high value assets. So I think it's really exciting that we're now starting to provide some locations inside buildings.
It is, and it's giving people that are running those buildings more of an opportunity to say the building is working, and is it working correctly?
Exactly. How are you seeing the transformation take place in our buildings then? We're using this sort of technology.
So personal devices, for instance, mobile phones, they can interact with the building, knowing that the visitor has arrived, what they look like. So they'll do facial recognition, guiding them to the next meeting, telling them who's in today, maybe where they are, and what's available, what spaces are available. Personal automated preferences, depending on your location, setting up your VC automatically based on your preferences, adjusting light and temperature in the room from your device. That can all be done from your phone, iPad. You don't have to wait for someone in reception to do it all for you. It can now be done yourself.
So the building will respond to me?
Absolutely, it will know you already. Either be facial or you log in as soon as you come into the building.
And I suppose because everybody's kind of carrying their mobile phone with them the whole time, it seems to be the best way to pick up their location and where they are. We're in their pockets as such.
Absolutely. Obviously then the increased efficiency in the building, service performance, which of course everyone wants, reduced power, reduced total space, reducing maintenance and FM costs.
Is that because they know where I've been?
It is. They're able to look at the usage in that space, and it's able to tell you where people have been. So do we need this much space? Can we cut it down? Next building, what have we learned from this building? What we can do next? An example, which is a great one, washrooms. If you get told how many times they've been used, you can contract your cleaning services to work around that usage.
What I've seen actually is a big thing that helps you to understand how the customer satisfaction of an airport is normally pretty highly linked to the cleanliness of the toilets. So having this sort of tech implemented there will make sure that your airport is thoroughly loved.
Fabulously done.
A question for you. If you were going to advise a client on deploying location services, what would the top tips be?
Two top tips for today, I would say, is fully understanding your primary objective, mindful of GDPR and all else associated with data protection. It's a big thing. Some people are quite okay with knowing where you're moving, and some people aren't. So that's quite a big thing with some users. Again, as I was just saying, if the users agree to share their personal data, then the location services will not fulfill its objective. Again, it's how the company and the business sells it. It's a name. your employer number, fine, not your whole back-end data where you live, address and all that other good stuff. Develop your visions and align them with the workplace strategy from the outset, as well as agreeing with budgets very early. Don't leave it last minute to decide what tech you want into your space. It must be first. It can't be left last anymore, because it's what's going to keep people there. It's what's going to run the building. So it's first and foremost, think tech first.
Exactly. What I've seen some companies do that are really worried about the data privacy aspects of this is to get the staff to almost sign up to it in the first place. So I think there's an investment manager in London that actually rewards their staff by giving them a free coffee every week if they are part of the location services data stream. And one of the ones that I was working on a building in Dublin, we actually kind of made it a cool factor. It's like, do you really want to be an analog person and not be part of the system? The deal is, if you're in it and you're contributing to it, then you can also take from it. So it became a bit of a sort of prestige thing for people.
Fantastic. That's a good tip. Another tip for the day.
Exactly. And could you give me an example of a client where they've used location services to their business advantage?
UBS.
Okay. What have they done?
They've used location-based services in their new HQ with interactive displays on each floor plate showing locations of people, where they are, as well as availability of spaces.
And what does that do for their staff?
Well, it's a quite big office. So for their staff, they've got lots of visitors coming in and out all the time. It tells the visitors where they need to go and where they need to meet people. Vice versa, it then tells people what meeting rooms are available, what desk space is available, and where they are based in the office.
I remember a report being created from one of my clients that was looking at how they could use location services. And from the small part of user testing that they did, they thought they could address 15% of their productivity leakage, which Sodexo, the facility manager, says is about 2 hours a day. So if you're thinking you can start to chip away at that 15% of the 2 hours, it seems like there's a big prize available on the table.
Yeah, loads of time saving straight away.
Proof will be in the pudding.
Absolutely.
A big thank you to Evelyn Hogan, who's joining me in the studio in London. Next time, wellness just got digital, and we'll be discussing that with Harry Knibb. If something in this episode has piqued your interest, then have a chat with us. Email smart@wsp.com. You've been listening to Smart Thinking, a podcast from WSP. I'm Matthew Marson, and thanks for listening.